in anything ship related.
Are you expecting like a movie here, like all drama?
I mean, if it's from the telenovela group, you got to make sure you're ready for the telenovela.
That's right. We can make this as Netflix as you want it to be. We can go any genre. All right.
I need a glass of wine like Miguel.
Always.
Are you on the Zoom?
The question is, which number of glass is that? Is it the first one or the 7th one?
Say that again?
I'm wondering what number glass is that one? Is that the first one, the second one?
That's the second one.
Excellent.
I mean, does it matter?
Well, it's gonna matter depending on how heated we want the conversation. Yes.
Oh, I'm listening. I'm not participating on this one. I'm just listening for this one. I can't help or hurt any of the candidates. I gotta remain neutral.
Excellent.
Yahaira, how are you? Thank you for calling in.
I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone. ¿Cómo están?
Bien, good afternoon.
Good to be here.
All right, Amy, what do you think? Should we get started or what?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for Wendy calling in too, Nicolas and Leo that just joined. Yeah, I think we are ready. I think
the question is, are you ready? Like we are ready.
I am ready.
Excellent.
That's why we are here today.
Excellent.
Heidi, thank you for calling in.
Well, let me just give a brief introduction. So welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time today to join us. Edwin asked me to moderate a bit of a Q&A for his official running for the SHIP role. So I, of course, accepted. You know, this is a familia, so love to participate where I can. What we're going to do is I have prepared a couple of very basic questions for Edwin just to get the ball rolling. But we'd love to get your questions, whether it's via the chat or if you want to just raise your hand and speak up, absolutely welcome. If that sounds like a plan, we'll go with that. Any objections on that plan? Yep, silence for a second. I take it as agreement. We're good. So we will move on. Edwin, let's. Oh, is that mine making the noise? I apologize. No, we're good. Edwin, I think most of the people in the room right now know you, but I think it would be very helpful if you provided a bit of a background, your experiences, where you're coming from, very high level. We will get into the SHIP information soon enough, but provide everyone with a bit of background on who Edwin is.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for that introduction, Fernando, and thank you everybody for calling in and being here with all of us. My background, I have a bachelor's of science degree in industrial engineer. I did that in Puerto Rico in the University Polytechnic of Puerto Rico. I also did a master in organizational management. I did it in Charleston, Southern University, where people say, how are you all? So it's kind of interesting, the different location where I've been doing different knowledges, learning this different knowledge from college. The other thing of my background, I grew up in Puerto Rico, but for 3-4 years, my mom moved to New York City. So I lived in New York City, where I learned English first. That's kind of a fun fact about myself. And then I went to Puerto Rico back again when I was almost 5 and nobody could understand me. And it was a very challenging process because my uncles couldn't understand what I was saying. So it was fun. I spent many years in Puerto Rico. Then I graduated finally from my degree and decided to move to Orlando, Florida, where I moved there as a manager for Puma, the clothing and shoe store. And that gave me the opportunity to be in the United States outside of Puerto Rico. Then I have the opportunity to move to Miami, where my mom moved from Puerto Rico. And I kind of did a restart and searching for a job as an industrial engineer. I said, I need to get into myself to go to a job where I can bring over the learnings from my college, and also the amount of money that I spent, because many don't know about me. I spent 11 years doing my degree because I was working full-time and helping my mom at the same time, and working full-time so I can pay my school. Then I find a job in Boeing in 2007. So moving from Miami to Seattle as an industrial engineer kind of was a big change, weather, cultural. And another fun fact, that's how I learned about SHPE. And wow, I wish I learned about SHPE when I was in college. I probably didn't went to that route, spending too many years, but that's something about my background.
Let me interrupt there for a second. So you bring a good point. So what does the organization mean to you? So you said you learned about SHPE. So two questions. One, how long have you been involved with the organization? And two, what does the organization mean to you?
Well, one of the first things that means for me about the organization is I learned from my uncle that we as professionals have the responsibility to give back. And always my passion has been be a collaborator, be engaged with the community. When I was a kid in Puerto Rico, I would be involved in church and do volunteering events. So when I learned about SHPE through in Boeing, we call it BRG, Business Resource Group, other company call it Employee Resource Group. We have a Boeing Hispanic Employee Network, and we have multiple board members that were part of the Puget Sound Region 1 professional chapter. And they invited me there in 2007. So since 2007, I've been involved with SHPE as a professional. And they invited me for a retreat, even though I was not part of the board, but for some reason they liked some of my ideas and things that I was doing as a membership chair. Because as a membership chair for the Boeing Business Resource Group, I was doing a lot of integration between the BRG, SHPE, in that time it used to be called SHEMBA, and also Alpha. So any event that was happening, I was single. Well, I still single, sorry for that. I was single during that time, didn't have any family at all. And any type of event, I will be there. Because in Seattle, if you have been in Seattle from the time of September, after September, all the way into January, it's raining, great. There's not a lot of things. People don't go out. I love to go out. So I was going to different events, community events, school events, and it didn't matter if it was a part of the BRG or part of the SHPE. I always try to get people together and do synergy. And I start building up a distribution list in Seattle, and people would reach out to me and say, hey, can you invite your people? And any event, people would show up. We will have 100 people, 120, and people will say, how do you know so many people? And I'm like, I love to integrate. I love to work with everybody.
Excellent, excellent. So Edwin, that gives us a bit of background on who you are, how long you've been involved with the organization, where you come from, and your experiences and background. In a brief minute, can you describe some of the achievements you've done for the organization, how you have been involved, an active member, but tell us a bit about the what you have accomplished for the organization, and then please be ready so I can open it up for questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Accomplishment. So based on that trajectory that I start in my journey with SHPE as a member for the organization, for many years, I was kind of in the background. I didn't want to be on a board of the chapter. I always will have the opportunity to volunteer for any kind of event they need, even if it was for schools, STEM event, Noche de Ciencias type event, or professional development. I kind of, around 2015 is where I have my aha moment. And as my aha moment is, I was kind of seeing how people were running the chapters with a little club where there's only 6 or 8 in the board. And I was like, I wanted to do something different, so it's open to everybody. So I opened I kind of run for the president for the BRG in Charleston, South Carolina. And I become the president, and I decided instead of having a board of 6 or 8, I created 25 positions with the basics one and new ones just to open the door for anybody that wanted to make something, make a change or make a difference. Because as you know, when you do board meetings or any type of meeting, people throw ideas, but then they walk away pretending that you do it. So one of my motivation was, I like the idea. What about you taking over the leadership, the initiative, and we provide you the support as a team? And that helps to create new positions. And people thought that I was a little bit crazy because they say, oh, you want an army. So guess what? With 25 people, and I put the flags for everybody because I didn't care if they were Latino, not Latino, any type of race or belief or sexual orientation. I will put them on the organization picture so everybody knows that we are open for anybody. And we accomplish it together. And I'm not gonna jump the story how I get integrated to SHPE in Charleston. Before I said what are we accomplished, Adriano Campos received a call from the board to become their RVP, and she learned about me, what I was doing in Charleston as a president, because she was seeing all the accomplishments that we were doing together. And she asked me if I can help her to create the chapter in South Carolina, because for the past 2-3 years, there was a group trying to do it, and that was not happening. So I took the challenge, even though I was the president for the BRG. I decided in 2016, in January, to be specific, I organized a meeting with the people that were already members in South Carolina interested, and we create the new chapter, and it was approved in 2016. I become the president, and then I did synergy between SHPE and Boeing, the business resource group. Now we call it Boeing Familia, and together we did many events. And I would say in total of a year and a half, we accomplished 71 events, from community engagement, students engagement, professional development, either inside of the company, outside of the company. We will do webinars. That's how I met Emily too. And she helped me out a lot because Adriana recommended her. And I'm always being involved in recruitment at Boeing. I kind of like her style and the power from network. And then she started working at Boeing, and she helped me out part of the accomplishment. And that's how my journey started in SHPE, more engaged, on the table, on a chapter. Then in 2017, I saw that Adriana was running for the board, and I was like, hey, do you have anybody for RVP? And she said, well, nobody has expressed interest. I was like, okay, I will put my name. I start collecting the signatures, and I become the RVP. As an RVP, biggest accomplishment I can say is 2 regional RODC, 2 regional leadership development conferences, where the 2018, we did it in Daytona, 191 of attendance. That was a record for the region, where it's around over 30%. And then in Miami, we doubled the numbers in the percentage of increase to 241 more or less. And it was 80% from the previous 2 years ago. And those 2 events, they were both on green, over 10,000 of profit, that helps other chapters to receive some money to help other scholarships or people to go to convention. Another accomplishment that I implemented in Miami first, before I did the RODC in Miami, kind of a strategic, how to convince people to work the RODC. That is a lot of hard work. And I did a collaboration for success, and people were asking, what is that? I'm like, well, we're gonna take a university with a nice venue. We're gonna invite multiple chapters that are around that area so they can work together and organize it. And they make it happen. Around 120 people participated. We have a workshop, we have a keynote speaker. The president of the university showed up as a surprise and they given a speech, and the students start, and the professionals in Miami, they start working together. Between 5 chapters, we organized that event, and then 4 of them decide to run the RODC, and I was involved in that, and we did very similar accomplishment that we did in Daytona. We did it in Miami, and it was a big success. And when they received the check of the profit, like for example, a community college received around $3,500, they almost cried. And I was so grateful seeing that emotion, because they saw that we make it happen together. And we did the same menu of Collaboration for Success 2019 in Atlanta. And I was able to convince them to work the Atlanta RODC 2019. It got canceled, but it was, the preparation was amazing because they already built up some relationship. Another accomplishment, since 2017, the membership has grown 37%. And for me, that is very gratification, but not only the region, every single region too. Because one of the things that I love to do is on integration and synergy, I have a chat with the RBP since 2017. And now we have been mature our experiences and working together, and we share best practices to continue growing. Those are kind of my biggest accomplishment. There's so many details that can be told, but those are the bullets.
Got it. No, thank you so much, Edwin. So I'm gonna move on to a couple of questions that I'm receiving here in the chat. I'm gonna start with the first one that came in, which is why focus on SHPE instead of other organizations? Again, why are you focusing on SHPE? You mentioned other organizations as part of your background. Why this one for your focus?
I love the saying of Chief Familia. That's a great question too. And honestly, we walk the talk when we say familia. We help each other, even there's opportunity of improvement, but we still are here helping each other and supporting each other. And that's one of the distinguished values that I see from SHPE and from other organizations. The other thing I see about SHPE, how has been growing since 2016 when they did the transition with the new model of the organization to just be SHPE National Inc. and not 2 different organizations working together, just one, and how we have been growing, doubling the numbers. So I see a lot of opportunity that we can continue triple our numbers in a few years. So that's why SHPE. It's kind of a lot of people giving with their heart is what it drives me to continue growing my passion.
Excellent, thank you. Next question, which I'm getting a couple of times in the chat, is why are you leaving halfway through your RVP term? And what does that mean logistically for the region?
That's a really good question, thank you. I don't consider that I'm leaving. I'm getting more involved. I'm gonna be deep diving more for moving to this new position. So I'm not leaving anywhere, I'm staying, and I'm just gonna be more involved in this new role. And at the same time, I know that we have great, capable, qualified candidates in Region 7 to continue the journey of the strategy that we have in Region 7. So I'm not leaving anywhere. I'm just gonna be on the table, helping out with decisions of ideas that I already have for multiple years, and for listening to members, listening to students, and listening RVPs, regional leaders, and even board members. So that's why I'm making the decision. And the election is now, so it's now and ever.
Thank you. And I'm gonna go to another question, which I'm very fond of. I think it comes from risk versus reward. Where do you usually fall when taking the lead on different efforts? Risk versus reward.
Risk versus reward. I believe we always work on risk mitigation when we make decisions and when we also take actions. So for me, something rewarding for me personally, when I make a decision of giving the empowerment to someone in the, let's say in the regional council, I did the same thing that I did in Charleston, that I open up the door, I create new positions to give opportunity to other people that have ideas. And when they bring over ideas to be implemented, I'm sure that they are part of the vision and mission of SHPE. And also it's inside our integrity as a region, so we avoid any risk. Yes, we take some risk, but we ensure that there's no impact to the organization.
Okay, thank you. Next question. We're going to keep firing those questions, so please keep typing them into the chat. I appreciate that. Edwin, if you had to choose one strategic initiative to support and push on the board in your term, what would that be? And I'm going to emphasize that they're asking for one strategic initiative.
So one strategic initiative. As many I've been telling all of you during this campaign, and many people that know me, that has been working with me, I'm all about integration, growth, and empowerment. So based on that, one of the first initiatives is to ensure I do a good integration on recent graduates and graduate students that are professional too. There is an opportunity to improve in that integration to ensure that the students know which is the chapter they can be part of, to ensure that they change in their system, their status as a member, because that is so important that we don't lose that track of them, to ensure we continue taking advantage of their knowledge, their energy, and their passion. That I think that is something, one of the strategic first thing that I want to do is integrating those recent graduates, and also taking into consideration the graduates that will continue their journey and they love SHPE. And we have so many people that do a lot of stuff that we need to put on the spotlight and pair people together to continue the growth.
All right.
And to establish programs that will help them.
Thank you so much. Next question that I'm getting here in the chat is, where do you see SHPE in 5 and 10 years? And how do you see your involvement in that? And I apologize, I misread. Is SHPE in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? And how do you see your involvement in that?
Well, in 1 year, so as we know, we had COVID-19. And I think we as engineers, as innovators, as people in professional career in STEM and study in STEM, we have a lot of great attributes that can help us work together, a plan of innovation, taking opportunity of what's going on today, that thanks to this virtual world that we are doing now, right now we're having this meeting and having some question and answer, but we also can use it to create opportunities to help our membership and our organization to continue our journey to growing. So we, as you all saw, we reached 12,000 members. That's a huge milestone for the organization for the very first time. I see next year an increase of 25%, and in the next subsequent year that will continue growth, because we are getting stronger, because thanks to this virtual work, now we are getting more relationship and working together towards a common goal that is helping others, develop ourselves, and giving back. That's kind of our strengths as an organization. And continue the great strategy that we already have established, and maybe do some finesse and a couple things, and also listen to new ideas for innovation.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to read this next one. I see Emily eating popcorn, so she's looking for some to spice up the conversation. So, what are your thoughts on the vacancies in the graduate student representative positions, and how would you tackle the lack of representation or exposure and involvement of graduate students?
Can you repeat the question?
Of course I can. What are your thoughts on the vacancies in the graduate student representative position? And how would you tackle the lack of representation or exposure and involvement of graduate students?
That's a really great question. One of the things that we need to work is talking as a board member. I want to talk with in the graduate students that are going to be running right now. I want to talk with people that have been in that position before. I want to also have conversation with RGRs, and they already have solutions. We just need to listen and make the implementation, and maybe add any idea if there's a need. But I'm very sure that we have very smart candidates running for the NGR. Indeed, as in the poll right now is one of them. And I have the opportunity to talk to her in FIU to see how we can do better for the RODC program for graduate to attract people. And one of the things we started implementing was a more research, a board competition, presentation competition, and get them more engaged and more involved. One of the things that I've been doing as a region is to expand the role of the RJR, having other champions in different state locations and work together. I wanted to do the same thing for the entire nation because I believe they are very smart people too. They're very strong too. And all of them decided to go on the graduate path. And most of them, they don't have a professional job. So we need to sit down and listen to the ideas, because I've been going to other conventions and I see many of them participating in those conventions. And I'm like, there's something that we probably are lacking that we need to implement in our organization to help that graduate students.
All right. Thank you, Edwin. Almost forgot, but it didn't skip me. Another question here. How would you say your platform, integration, growth, and empowerment aligns with the SHPE's mission, vision, and values? Again, how would you say your platform, integration, growth, and empowerment aligns with SHPE's mission, vision, and values?
The alignment on integration, why I use that a lot. So for example, in integration, I have the opportunity to go to RODC Region 2 in 2018. And that was because there was an opportunity to help the chair for that RODC. And I see myself sharing my best practice of what we did in our RODC. So he felt very grateful and invited me to go, and I took the opportunity to go and see how they do it in Region 2. So thanks to that type of things that I like to do, I was able to meet new people and gain new ideas to be implemented back to the next year on RODC. And that part of the integration of working together, it gave me the opportunity to invite people from other regions to come to my RODC, and they brought over new ideas that helped the RODC for Miami be more successful, more enjoyable, because those are the things that I love to do. Well, that's why I like to do the integration. And I think SHPE is all about helping each other. It's all about, we all have the need, not only for learning, but also to give back. And I think we just need to ensure that we integrate the people that love that and get the best from them. The other thing about grow, SHPE, as I mentioned before, 12,000 members, that's a significant growth. Not only it helps us to be stronger as an organization, but it also attracts IPCs to donate. It also attracts individuals to donate for scholarship. So we can open up the opportunity for the people that are in need for scholarship so they can do a degree and a career in STEM. I think those little items that I mentioned, it helps a lot between integration and growth. And then the empowerment, as I mentioned before, I love to empower, and SHPE does the same thing by give us the opportunity. For example, I'm an RVP, I don't get paid. I'm volunteering, but SHPE is giving me the empowerment to be a leader, to learn how to be a leader, and to help others to be a leader. So I create platforms in my region. I create a platform in my region that help out to bring new ideas to the table, new positions with people that comes with some aha moments and ideas. Say, hey, Edwin, can I implement this? Yeah. You want to be part of my region council? Perfect. I talk with the team, everybody agreed, and we provide empowerment. So those three things are so powerful that will continue helping the mission and vision of CHIP.
Here's another one real quick. How do we get more people to run for regional leadership positions or board positions?
Yes. So one of the things that motivates the most is when you see others doing amazing things. And when you see great events, for example, we have a monthly, quarterly QRR, quarterly regional review. And we sit down and see a presentation, how every chapter is doing across the nation. And people get motivated to do that event in another location. And they say, wow, if it worked for them, it worked for us. Let's try it. Same thing for regional leadership. One of the things that we have been implemented in Region 7, and this is something that is started before I started my position, they have, for example, the RSR have an apprentice and also have a vice RSRs. We have 4 sub-regions. We have the Carolinas, we have Georgia, and we have North Florida and South Florida. And each sub-region have a vice RSR. Plus we have the apprentice, and that helps motivate the next RSR for the next year. So in that position, we've been consistent, somebody running for that position. The RGR, we are trying to do the same thing, very challenging, but it's not impossible. And the same thing with RJR. So we have official elected position, and we have sub-positions elected by the council, so we can train others what we are learning and what we know. So when we leave, others can continue the journey. We need to do the same thing for the National Board of Directors. We need to start training people to be ready for those positions when it comes to their time. Because I know we have a lot of talent members in our organization.
Excellent. All right, Edwin, I'm going to throw one of my questions, the one that I had prepared for you. So what do you bring to the role? What makes you different and the right candidate for the role?
One of the things that I have for me is I never give up. That's one of the things that when people say, no, that's not possible. And in my mind, I've said, but I believe it's possible. I've seen it before, or I've done it before. So I try to work in a strategy and a plan and show it to the people. And then not only show it, also work it with passion and dedication. And I'm not afraid to work long hours. Some people say, hey, you send me an email at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's because when I believe in something with my heart, I believe it's possible that I can help to make a difference. I make it happen. So the other thing that helped me out to be different is I work for a corporation that most of you know. I work for Boeing for 13 years. And as working for Boeing, I'm being involved as a recruiter. That helps to be on the table on the discussion on how we can provide, improve our strategy to hire more people at convention. And we already demonstrated the last past year, we hire more than 150 people each year. So that's more than 300 Hispanics and non-Hispanic that come to the convention with the opportunity to work with the company. So I have the experience to work with IPC, not only in my company, but also leading the RODC effort. It gave me the exposure and opportunity to talk with IPC, to see how we work on logistics, how we go with fundraising, and how that can be, their money can be implemented and help them out with the communication. So I have that skill and experience too. I'm bringing over the experience of how CHIP works. And how I know that is because I experienced the challenge as a member. I experienced the challenges as a board member of a local chapter. It was not easy doing the funding, creating the CHIP in South Carolina, because there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of bureaucracy to fill out. And that's part of the process. And I just was consistent, never giving up. Even though the board will say we have some challenges in approving it on time, I never give up. I keep going and going and asking for support, and it make it happen. And I feel very proud when I was in the convention and they called me to give me the plate for the official notification that we were approved by the national. So the other thing that I bring over is, as you can tell the way I talk, my passion. I have a lot of passion about giving back. And I love to go anywhere, no matter where the event is located. It can be in different locations that people don't like to go. I will go because that's me. And I like to work with everybody. Everybody that has a passion, that has something to bring on the table, to make a difference. I'm a welcome person, and I love to work with many different people. If we have the good faith to do the right thing and to make things happen.
Good, thank you. Here's another question from the chat. Being part of the National Board of Directors, you will be in a position to greatly influence the organization at large. In what other ways do you see SHPE collaborating with other like organizations or with specific companies?
I see SHPE collaborating organizations that are similar to SHPE in STEM, for example, because I know we are very strong on the student side. We are growing on the professional side program. We're doing better, but we have other organizations that have strong programs on professional, but not strong programs on student. So we can benchmark from each other to do a better for our members. And not only leveraging that synergy, it also will help us gain more exposure of growth. Also, I see a lot of collaboration we do with multiple companies. Last convention, we have 2 companies as the biggest sponsor of the convention. That means SHPE has been working a lot of relationship and collaboration to make that happen. And they're doing the same for Denver and doing it for the rest of the upcoming convention. So I see that we continue doing collaboration with other organizations, but we still need to push a little bit harder to do that leverage. For example, we have Alpha. Many people can see it as a competition, but I see it as an opportunity that we continue getting stronger, that we are really a welcoming familia, because we are. We just need to take some extra step and some risk, and we will be doing great on that.
All right, thank you. How would you handle conflict with other board members and staff? Interesting question.
One of the things that I love when a conflict happens, the first thing is to listen what is happening. And even though I observe something that there's a gap, one thing that I have is I'm a very honest person and transparent. I will provide and assess the situation by listening multiple parties, not just one side. There's always 2 sides of the story. So I like to listen to both sides of the story and maybe bring a third person that is not aware of the situation and discuss, so we can have a great resolution of a win-win solution.
Okay. Moving on to the next question on the chat. What are your thoughts on funds diversification for SHPE?
My thought of funds diversification of SHPE, as you all know, the annual report came out, and there was around 450,000 of scholarship, I believe, or a little bit more. And I think we have some opportunity to double that number. I know we grow from last year to this year, but I think that we can nudge that a little bit higher for scholarship. For example, we have, I believe it's around 4 or 5 scholarships one was done by Alemani, for example, for his mother, rest in peace, that is a scholarship towards women in STEM that are in need. I believe we have more people in our organization, members and staff, that can help out to create new fundings and new diversification of those fundings. Those are the ones that are more, for me, one of the most important ones, the scholarship, because it gave the opportunity to others to go to a career in STEM. I wish that I learned about SHPE when I was in high school. I probably take a different path. I probably get more knowledge, more mentors in my life. And I did it the hard way. I didn't know about SHPE. I was working full time. I was going at night at school, in and out, take my class, and that's it when I can. And when I learned about SHPE in 2007, I was like, wow. And one thing that I want to share with all of you, I went to an event a couple of years ago in Charleston, and we were doing a kind of an activity for engineering about a helicopter with carton and plastic and rubber. And the kid did an amazing job, and I kind of reward him, and he said, yeah, but I will never be an engineer. And he said to me, he said to me that, and I was like, why you say that? Oh, because my mom is not a legal person in the United States. And I'm like, don't never say that. You can become more than an engineer. You can go to the moon if you want. It's up to you to make it happen. And that was for me a very another aha moment. Like, that's why I continue giving the message of what we can do as a familia in SHPE, and also how can we give back to others so they can learn the right path, so they don't have the situation that I have, that I spent too long finishing my college.
And I'm getting, Edwin, I'm getting a clarification as well for the question. What they also want to know is, how can SHPE diversify the source for its funding for programming? How can SHPE diversify the source for its funding for programming?
When you're saying diversify, are you saying the different organizations that are providing money, like IPCs, individual contributors?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yep.
Correct.
Perfect. So one of the diversification that we can work together with other organizations that are also nonprofit, that also they are collecting money and sometimes they don't know where to give it to. We need to reach out to those organizations. I have learned a couple of them, and we just need to do some integration and connection to make the diversification funding come into SHPE. Because we receive a lot of money from IPC, we receive a lot of money from individual contributors, but we also have other organizations can help us. That's how I see it.
Okay. Just a reminder, we have 10 minutes to go. So if you have additional questions, please go ahead and submit them in the chat. Edwin, how will you work with regional teams to help execute on SHPE's goals?
With regional teams, I will continue having that connection with them directly. It's like one of the things when I was making the decision to run for the National Board of Directors, I asked my leadership regional teams, what do they think about it? And then I took their advice. And I got that same question, and I tell them, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not disappearing. I will be there for all of you, because that's how I grow, and that's how I learn. So I cannot forget where I'm coming from. Even though I'm part of the board, I still can take the time to listen, to have some conversation, to make some phone calls, do one-on-one. I will have an open door policy. Yes, I'm gonna be supporting the organization as a whole, but I will be having conversation with my peers. I will be having conversation with the staff, and I will be having conversation with the regional leadership and members and local chapters to ensure that we address any gap that we have. Because most of the challenges that I experienced as a regional leader was certain kind of support, finding the right person to get the right answer. And I want to make sure that we have that communication operating rhythm established, where people know where to go, who to ask, and what type of information we can give them. That needs to be defined So that way we know what is the expectation and we can meet those expectations.
Excellent. Edwin, going back to the chat, what would you do to convince the board and the organization to care about graduate students if they're supposedly professionals as well? I apologize.
That question, I mentioned a little bit about it in the previous question related to graduate students. So the number one thing is showing the numbers of how many graduate students we have, showing the opportunity of how many more we can attract to become members. And then have a conversation, a cross conversation between multiple RGRs across the nation, bringing under the table a couple national board members, especially the new national board members appointed, to sit down and have a conversation to learn from those experienced regional RGRs or even ex-RGRs. Like we have people like Emily that used to be in the national board as a student representative, graduate representative. And there are so many that has going through that process. We gotta listen to those ideas and see if we still have gaps and implement it. But in order to convince them, we need to show them the money. Where is the right direction that we can use? We have so many innovators doing researches, and those research can be implemented. And also, we need to find people that are love to invest in entrepreneurs and see we can bring the new best idea from Czech and make that happen. And we have many graduate students doing amazing research that can be implemented.
All right. And I see Emily doing a little dance over there. Okay, so here's the plan. I'm going to ask that last question that just came in. And then, Edwin, I think I'm going to give you back 5 minutes so you can actually close off since we're at 8:52 now. So the question is, what are you least and most looking forward if elected?
The least and most. I think the least is I want to make sure that your vote for me counts. So one of the things is I want to be on a table to make the decisions that is going to make an impact and make a difference. And people felt heard. People felt that they're connected to the organization and they know who is who in the zoo. Because we have so many people, so many different roles, and we want to make sure everybody is aware of that. So that at least I don't want people to don't feel they wasted vote. The most, I want to make sure that I walk the talk, that we'll be continuing working towards my passion that is aligned with the vision and mission of the organization and make things happen with my experience. And not only my experience, I also invest time. Last year, I was checking in, there's so many hours that we all invest in this organization. So I want to make things happen and not just having this conversation here and forget about everything. The most is making change happen from within. Meaning, I want to be on the table. I'm already on the table in my company. Many of you don't know, I'm the president of Boeing Familia Enterprise. And that's the first time that happens, that we have that type of governance. So I'm the president of all the chapters in the company. And I sit down with the vice president of diversity in the company. I sit down with the CFO of the company. And there's a lot of influence already happening to bring more money to the table. So that's one of the other things the most is also bringing money on the table as a national board of directors.
All right, Edwin. So thank you. I want to thank everyone for the questions that you've been providing via the chat. Edwin, we have 5 minutes left, and I think it's only fair that you take those 5 minutes to deliver any closing remarks, any last messages, anything that you want the audience to take away from this conversation, your platform, and what they can expect from you. So with that, I will turn it back to you for closing remarks.
Thank you, Fernando. As I mentioned about me, integration, growth, empowerment, I want to continue that path because it's very important when we get together and we do CHIP unity, we make more things happen, more effective. We learn from our lessons on the past. People that when we discuss with different diverse people from different regions, it helps us see things in a different perspective. And we need to continue doing that. Many people have chapters. And sometimes when I was a chapter leader, I felt that we have a silo in my chapter. So I start reaching out other chapters to gain this idea because we don't need to invent the wheel. We've been established in 1974 and so many things already being done for us. We just need to reach out, see what it worked for other people and implement it in your chapter in your region and also in the national board. So I'm going to be calling people in different locations. I'm going to be calling ex-national board director. I'm going to be talking with people that are going right now in the position. And at the same time, I want to make sure that I work my time properly on things that matters, things that will move the needle. And at the same time, we don't get forgotten on certain things that has been mentioning for multiple years and it hasn't been happening. So I want to find out all those gaps and make sure that we can work one by one, as many as possible. And honestly, I'm a person that loves to work with everybody. And many people know that already that has been working with me and seeing how I work. Sometimes I become very passionate, but there's a reason for that. I have good reasons about making things happen, not because I don't believe in things that is impossible. I believe many things are possible. And that is something that is so powerful. We need to make things possible for everybody. And I want to demonstrate that I was a chapter leader, I was a regional leader, and now I'm the national board of directors, one of the leaders in that board. And I want to show other people, if I make it happen, you can make it happen too.
All right. Edwin, thank you very much for taking the time for Q&A today. We're right on schedule, so we're going to close the session. If they need to get a hold of you, email, Edwin, I assume email, phone number, social media, is that how to get a hold of you?
Yes, you can follow me by Edwin Moure Negrón. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have LinkedIn. My phone number, I'm going to type it so everybody can have it. It's 787-438-7757. Many of you, sorry, let me write it again, 787-438-7757. Many of you know I use WhatsApp as one of the communications. My email for CHIP right now is rgt7@chip.org. And it will change if I get selected, it will change. But you can reach me right now, any of these days. I'm on vacation this week, so take advantage of that time. So, and I'm here, like I said, I'm gonna have an open door policy.
All right. Well, with that, we will conclude today's Q&A with Edwin. Thank you all that participated. Thank you for the questions. Hopefully this was of value to everyone. Have a great day, have a great week, and stay safe. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Chao,
Edwin.
Bacalao.
Bye. Thank you.